Hello, I'm Colleen Holder and this is Let's Talk Tobago. Today we're in Black Rock at the Turtle Beach Hotel. This place got its name for the giant leatherbacks which lay their eggs on the beach during the nesting season from March to July. It's been standing here since 1971 and this simplistic exterior is a vast contrast to what's on the inside. We'll take you on a picturesque tour after we tell you what's happening in our stories this week. The Tobago perspective on the national budget, what this island got and what it really wanted. Another recreational park is lit. This time it's the community of Speyside that benefits. And Cats and Jammers takes the national instrument to Costa Rica.
Sit Tobago, ready to provide your community with the highest degree of professional services in emergency response. Contact Sit Mariah at 660-0065 or Sit Speyside at 660-6096. Sit 24-hour services, emergencies, medical or other. Sit Pro, the new face of emergency management.
Welcome back to Let's Talk Tobago. We're on Turtle Beach, also known as Great Coral Bay. This is one of the longest beaches in Tobago, stretching from Black Rock to Plymouth. Not only would you find turtles nesting and hatching along this beach, but you can also see fishermen using this post to anchor their nets while pulling seine early in the morning. All this is just another way of showcasing Tobago, to hopefully spark additional interest in the island. But to effectively do so, the Tobago House of Assembly needs money. And earlier this year, they presented a budget asking for just under $5 billion. It was submitted to the central government, but until Monday, September 9th, no one knew for sure what the final allocation would be. As it turns out, the finance minister, Larry Hawaii, says it's $3.3 billion, or just about 5.3% of the national budget, but the Assembly disagrees. Let's join Sophie Guillaume to find out why.
In its $4.95 billion budget request, the Tobago House of Assembly projected that it will need just under $2 billion for development, but the central government has only given it $364 million. Chief Secretary Orville London says this means a number of projects will be put on the back burner for yet another year.
None of these projects can be completed with the sum allocated. So what we got to do is to lump monies from various items together and then be able to, as they say in local parlance, scrape up enough money to do a smaller number of projects.
Tobago got the bare minimum the central government can legally get away with giving the island. Mr. London and his secretary with responsibility for finance say the math will show that the allocation amounts to 4.03%, not 5.39%, or the equivalent of $3.3 billion as stated by the finance minister.
The other $831 million of which the minister speaks is money allocated to other ministries to be spent in Tobago.
The percentage which the Commission recommended in the range of 4.03% to 6.9% relates to the areas of the national budget for which the Assembly is responsible. Matters which fall primarily within the 5th schedule of the Tobago House of Assembly Act, not only with respect to the recurrent expenditure, but also with respect to development expenditure. And that clearly spells out that the DRC ruling relates specifically to funds allocated to the Tobago House of Assembly.
Mr. London says there will be challenges with projects such as the backlit indoor sporting complex and aquatic center, the housing projects, the human resource development program, as well as providing financial assistance to homeowners. Despite this, the Chief Secretary is reassuring that all is not lost as the Assembly will use its unspent balances to help with development expenditures. The Finance Secretary says it's now time for the Assembly to regroup and look at what can be done to retrieve the shortfall.
Because of this funding issue, we may use, as is provision in law, trigger the Dispute Resolution Commission and seek a raise of funding dating back to 2010 coming forward. And we have that mechanism at our disposal.
Members of the THA will meet on September 19th and 20th to decide on the way forward. The Assembly also expects to meet with the Finance Minister to address its budgetary issues. I'm Sophie Guillaume for Let's Talk Tobago.
And as work begins on crunching the numbers and scaling back the island's development plans, we want to turn our attention to another big announcement. It's something the business community here had been asking for, the designation of the Cove Eco-Industrial Park as a free zone. On budget day, that request was granted, well, sort of, because it comes with a clause which states the area will only have that status for a period of 5 years. To really understand what this means, Omar Mills sat down with the president of the Tobago division of the Chamber of Industry and Commerce.
It is now a free zone, the Cove Eco-Industrial and Business Park, that is, a 140-acre space reserved for the development of various businesses on the island.
A free zone area is designated for people to be able to bring in raw material, manufacture or produce whatever their end product is, and a certain amount of the product, and that is under customs, under customs eyes. And a number of the product is to remain on the island for local consumption or use, and the rest has to be re-exported out of here.
But in announcing that the industrial estate will be a free zone, the finance minister also revealed that it will only be that way for an initial period of 5 years. Ms. Haddad believes that limitation should be removed so that there can be greater benefits to the island's economy.
It gives the investor a level of confidence in terms of them putting out their money.
The chamber president is also suggesting that other elements be added to the proposal. As she sees it, this plan's chances of succeeding is even greater if there are improvements to the air and sea ports and a careful consideration be given to the types of businesses which will operate out of the park.
Well, first of all, Cove is supposed to be eco. So we need firstly to identify the businesses that are interested in doing business in an eco fashion, which facilitates Tobago and its tourism sector and everything else that we're trying to preserve on the island.
Prior to the budget presentation, officials of the THA had met with the finance minister and other central government officials where they discussed the setting up of a committee to consider Tobago as a duty-free zone and the Cove Eco-Industrial and Business Park as a special development area. I'm Omar Mills for Let's Talk Tobago.
But no budget coverage for this island would be complete without examining how this island's tourism industry fits into the central government's fiscal plans. As part of our comprehensive analysis, Omar Mills has also been following up that angle. Here's what she found out from the Tobago Hotel and Tourism Association.
Tobago's tourism sector is a major revenue earner for the island. But over the past few years, there has been a decrease in the sector's financial benefits. So in an effort to improve the industry, the Loan Guarantee Fund was created. On budget day, $50 million has been added to the pre-existing multi-million-dollar fund, making it $150 million. The president of the Hotel and Tourism Association, Costa James, says that money will go beyond reducing the debts that many tourism-related businesses face.
There is also a refurbishment guarantee, which is for 50 rooms and under, and that is basically any property that feels they want to refurbish, because one of the problems we have is that some hotels can't afford to refurbish, is a guarantee, again through the bank. It's not a grant, it's a loan through the bank, and it will be paid off by that business when things improve.
With an additional 1,500 quality rooms needed on the island, the fund provides for bigger investments into hotel accommodations.
There's a third and larger prospect for larger investors, over 50 rooms, and this is for much larger renovation or refurbishment, but also for new investment, whether foreign or local, to build new hotels.
Mr. James says that the money will complement the other initiatives used to encourage more tourist arrivals. Added to this injection of funds from central government, the THA is revising its marketing and branding strategies for the island, advocating for a better airport, and seeking to attract more tourists from countries such as Canada and Scandinavia. The fund has already disbursed loan money to 5 different businesses within the tourism industry. I'm Omar Mills for Let's Talk Tobago.
It's time to take a break, but stay with us because coming up, the pride of Black Rock impresses Costa Rica. This is Let's Talk Tobago. Welcome back to Turtle Beach Hotel located in Black Rock. This place has 125 rooms, all overlooking the Caribbean Sea. Coupled with nightly entertainment and friendly staff, this hotel also features ground floor only restaurants and bars which are suitable for physically challenged guests. It also probably contains some aspect of our next story. Believe it or not, it's all around you, from our roads and guardrails to retaining walls and houses. The feature we're speaking about is an essential component in construction and can be found at the Studley Park Quarry. Caroline Wallace explains.
Whether you call it aggregate material or gravel, this rock material is derived from the hard, dense volcanic rock known as andesite, located at the Studley Park Quarry, a valuable resource available to the local construction industry on the island.
Aggregates are used for concrete production and also asphalt, so it's very integral in home construction and for road building purposes, also for things like retaining walls. You see all about the place.
This is just one of two crush plants located on the 100-acre quarry. Combined, both plants produce about 450 tons of aggregate per day. The aggregate produced is available primarily to the domestic market, where persons can purchase it at a subsidized cost of $80.46 per ton, a cost which affords Tobagonians the opportunity to develop the island's infrastructure to world-class standards.
I think that it is very, very integral because as we know that the cost of constructing a house in Tobago is exorbitant when you compare it in Trinidad. So having that subsidized price for the aggregates here goes a long way for the average home builder in Tobago.
The Studley Park Quarry is operated under the Division of Infrastructure and Public Utilities. The quarry has been in operation for close to 20 years, and research has shown that production can continue for another 70 years. I am Caroline Wallace for Let's Talk Tobago.
Speyside is a small village nestled in the east of Tobago. It's a great place to picnic, but it also has some of the best coral reefs on the island and is a popular dive site. This year it was the venue where the first musical notes were struck for the 5th anniversary celebration of the Tobago Jazz Experience. Oh, and visitors say it has a breathtaking view from the lookout. So why are we telling you all of this? Well, these great attributes were just missing one thing. From that very lookout, you can see the community's recreational ground. But before now, it might have been a bit difficult to distinguish after dark. Crystal George tells us why that's no longer the case.
The cutting of the ribbon saw the lights at Speyside recreational grounds being turned on for the first time. And no time was wasted as the song of the whistle was blown to begin the community's first ever football match after sundown. The president of the village council, Farley Augustine, says that this formal ceremony isn't only about turning on lights, it's also about having a closer-knit community.
Health and fitness could become paramount, whereby as a community we could spend time playing and laughing and socializing with each other, whereby as a community we can afford our young people the opportunity to negotiate social contracts between each other on the playground.
The THA sees itself as facilitators, insisting that the grounds really belong to the residents. Mr. Augustine says that this should not be taken for granted.
This is a big opportunity for us. It should not be taken as an opportunity whereby the lights will just be on and no one on the field.
He's also urging residents to make good use of the grounds.
These opportunities come in large responsibilities, and we should make use not just of the opportunity, but we must use the playing field and the facilities now being afforded to us by the Tobago House of Assembly responsibly.
But this is not the end. This is just the first phase of the commissioning of recreational grounds in Tobago. 18 fields would be lit at the end of this phase and 23 at the end of this fiscal year. I'm Crystal George for Let's Talk Tobago.
As humans, injuries, diseases, and decrease in movement are inevitable. As we age, the cards are stacked against us. But sometimes growing older has nothing to do with it. Exercise or a mishap can change our lives. But there are ways in which persons with temporary or permanent mobility issues can be assisted.
Movement for Health is the theme of this year's Physiotherapy Awareness Month, and many persons came out to a one-day exhibition to seek information from physical therapy healthcare providers and professionals. Sandra John's husband uses a prosthetic leg to move around. She's grateful because she was able to get the necessary assistance in having his old prosthetic replaced.
It was very informative because there was I know where I could go and access the facilities and so on. So that was very interesting. So I would definitely be using their service.
For Jude Khan, whose mother lost her ability to speak after a stroke, the exhibition provides him the opportunity to get advice from a speech therapist.
I came here basically to see the speech therapist and to find out, what could be done to sort of assist her in returning some form of speech so that she would be able to communicate in some way with us. She was indicating to me a way that we could make a move forward into achieving something.
Physical therapy is one area which makes up the rehabilitation stage of an individual's recovery from injury or disease. One of the physical therapists, Kamaria Keynes-Dumas-Jack, says it's rewarding to see clients regain movement.
It's self-fulfilling, so to speak, when you can help that person regain function. Because that's our basic aim, to help persons regain function and become as functionally independent as humanly possible.
Those looking after or who are affected with limited mobility are not the only ones who came out. Physical education students came to learn about the different dimensions of physical therapy. One fourth-form student of Signal Hill Secondary School, Rinaldo Lizama, says that this interactive educational lesson helped him learn about diseases and how to properly treat them using various physical therapy methods.
I'm doing PE in school and it will help me a lot because I will learn more about the diseases and the types of bones and what can happen if nothing is treated right.
The exhibition was facilitated by the Physiotherapy Department under the Tobago Regional Health Authority at the Scarborough General Hospital. I'm Umadara Mills for Let's Talk Tobago.
We're taking another break, but on the other side, cricketing on this island gets a major plug from a player once voted Weeper's Test Player of the Year. You're viewing Let's Talk Tobago. Thanks for staying with us here at Black Rock at the Turtle Beach Hotel. If scuba diving is your thing, you can find that here. But for the less adventurous, there's a large pool with a swimmer bar and jacuzzi in the middle. There's even a children's pool that's just over 2 feet deep. And on the topic of our little ones, let's talk about those anecdotes usually shared about young people. Most of them revolve around what they're doing wrong. Depending on who you speak with and the context, it's a generation that's doomed to failure. But what if we told you there's a magazine that does just the opposite? It features the great things young persons are doing for themselves, communities, and organizations. Here's how.
It has a lot of color, a lot of pictures. It's a really vibrant magazine.
It's all about youth. It's all about you. It's the Y Square magazine, a publication which features the written and pictorial contributions of the good activities which many young Tobagonians are engaging in. Whether it's persons in sport, health, religion, entertainment, culture, Their stories are all welcomed.
We have young persons featured in various areas. So we have our education feature. We feature young persons who are involved in different types of educational activities, talking about their experiences of studying in different institutions. Then we added our young entrepreneurs section because we realized that entrepreneurship was an area that young people were getting into.
It's a free publication which is distributed to schools, youth centers, and just about any other place you'll find people on the island. But the Youth Development Officer, Lyndon Wilson, wants it to go further.
We've certainly seen some room for improvement, so we want to engage in some focus group sessions to talk to young people about how they feel about the magazine and how they feel, what we could do better, to increase the level of the publication.
The magazine is now in its 5th publication, and the editor says that since its first publication, the magazine has had a positive effect on the way in which young persons see themselves. The magazine is edited and published by the Department of Youth Affairs and Sport. Along with some other new additions, the committee hopes to add a health and fitness section to their 6th publication, thus ensuring that the magazine engages young persons in all areas. I'm Umudara Mills for Let's Talk Tobago.
The records show that only one Tobagonian, Lincoln Roberts, has ever been selected to play on the West Indies cricket team. But today there's an opportunity that can possibly increase the odds for sportsmen on this island. They're getting the chance to learn from those who have made it to the top, to gain hands-on experience and hone their cricketing talents. Davia Chambers tells us more.
Cricketers like these from top sporting schools like Wim Anglican and Bonnecourt Government got the chance to rub shoulders with celebrity cricketers such as Darren Ganga and Lincoln Roberts, gaining knowledge of the sport to one day walk in their shoes.
Obviously, it's a sport that has tremendous potential, and when we assess what's going on globally, it's probably the T20 is taking the world by storm. Tobago has had some outstanding cricketers over the years, and I think it's an opportunity to really develop coaching programs from elementary schools so that children now will have the opportunity, and as Darren Ganga Foundation has partnered with the Tobago House of Assembly along with the Tobago Cricket Association, is an excellent opportunity for the youngsters to understand the game.
He says it's all about developing the sport on the island, and they took the time to begin with the youth and not just males.
We're looking at more or less developing cricket for young men and women. For some reason, women's cricket has sort of been on the downturn. It is actually being revitalized now in consultation with the Tobago Cricket Association, the Tobago House of Assembly with the Division of Education, Youth Affairs and Sport. So this is a process that is ongoing. And with the Darren Ganga Foundation, obviously, it's going to help propel it because of the coaching program starting off in primary school with both sexes. It will encourage and perhaps elevate for continuity.
Added to that, it is hoped that the event attracts high-quality cricket back to Tobago.
To have this event by Darren Ganga, of course, the Tobago public will please again. And if it is that we continuously have these sort of events here, I think the youngsters will be back again playing cricket, because we have seen a reduction in terms of youngsters and teams participating in our local competition.
The Darren Ganga Foundation is making the event an annual one so that Tobagonian youth can realize their full potential when it comes to the sport of cricket. I'm Davia Chambers for Let's Talk Tobago.
You normally hear about steel bands giving energetic performances to win trophies and money during the National Panorama competition. But it's anything but carnival time. And this year's 3rd place winner in the medium band category at National Panorama played their way into the hearts of a Central American nation. It's a trip that established cultural links and possibly created economic opportunities.
The Katzenjammer Steel Orchestra is the only band invited by the Costa Rican Embassy to commemorate this country's 51st independence anniversary in that country. Kirsch Ramsey is one of the 29 members who performed at several venues throughout the Central American nation. He says that his most memorable moment occurred at a formal event where persons danced like it was carnival.
What I cannot forget was when I was performing at an award show where everyone was sitting down.
And I just had to play the soca. Everyone had to dance and like themselves, enjoy themselves, and that was really a good time to see and a good experience.
Besides the renditions of tunes which span the reggae, Latin, R&B, classical and calypso genre, the hectic 10-day trip included workshops at schools and tertiary level institutions. The tour is one which provided benefits beyond entertainment.
The schools that we have done the workshops in, they are going to, because they have already indicated that they would like to have the national instrument as part of their music program.
The manager says that the tour provides future opportunities for the exporting of the instrument to Central America. More than this, there are financial profits for many young local musicians.
We're talking dollars and cents there, and not just small change, big money. So you see that as a way of our people going out there and being paid as musicians to perform on the national instrument.
And there are the benefits of cultural exchanges and connections between Tobago and Costa Rica.
And we went to Limon to participate in the Afro-Cultural Festival. That in itself was a tremendous experience. And it reminded us so much of our Tobago Heritage Festival.
Sponsorship was a collaborative effort from the private and public sector. The Cats and Jammers Steel Orchestra is not new to performing on the national instrument for persons in other countries. In the 1970s, the band traveled to Canada, and in early 2000, some members formed the contingent which toured Europe as a way of marketing the island's culture. It is hoped that other tours will be done in the near future. I am Caroline Wallace for Let's Talk Tobago.
And it's time to have your say, the segment of our program where we hear from you, our viewers. As we told you earlier, the Tobago House of Assembly presented this island's financial plans to the central government, asking for just under $5 billion. But when the national budget was presented on Monday, September 9th, only a fraction of that sum was allocated. The Minister of Finance says it represents just about 5.39% of the national pie, but the Chief Secretary says a careful analysis of the numbers proves otherwise. So we're asking, are you satisfied with Tobago's allocation in the 2013-2014 budget? This is what you said.
Now, I find we should have got the money that we asked for, but still, it's a record allocation for Tobago.
Well, unfortunately, they didn't get the full amount that they requested, but they got more than last year. And what I'm saying is that knowing what they have done with what they were allocated last year, with prudent management and proper planning, I think they can maximize on what they have received.
No, I'm not satisfied with the amount. I think that Tobago deserves what Tobago should get to make sure that we function effectively.
It's far off from what we would have asked for, and I think probably more consultation should be have with THA in regards to that, because I mean, they fall short. We are reasonable in Tobago, and we would only ask for things that we find just to us, and therefore if it's so far off, a lot more consultation should be done prior to that delivery.
Well, as they get that amount, they can use the amount wisely by budgeting it properly and using it in such a way that it could still make the economy work.
No, I'm not, but they should give them what they ask for, because it have a lot of things to be developed in Tobago.
And that's how we bring this week's edition of Let's Talk Tobago to a close. Do remember you can send us your comments to information@tha.gov.tt or visit us at www.tha.gov.tt. Like us on Facebook and add us to your YouTube playlist. I'm Colleen Holder on behalf of all of us at the Department of Information. Have a safe and enjoyable week. And as we go, we leave you now with some final scenes from the Turtle Beach Resort at Black Rock.